Hey everyone, just waiting for Doc Rivers to speak before the Phoenix Suns game. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you putting your notifications on because we certainly didn't promote this. Interesting. So go ahead and hit us up in the comments with any questions you've got, and I will spend the next few minutes setting this up and answering whatever you guys got. Let's see what we got. All right. Coil's here. Our buddy. Can't wait till we can hang out again, Chris. Tell Dibes to set up an indoor golf session so we can swing some clubs. I'm going to Florida, by the way, next weekend. Next weekend I'll be on my way down to Florida. I am bringing my golf clubs. I'm going to hit the 2 Raptors games. I'm going to hit hopefully 3 Bluecoats games. I'm setting up, working with Murph right now with Bluecoats. He's their play-by-play guy. Working with him to set up some one-on-one interviews with the Bluecoats, top players, coach, GM, maybe Jameer Nelson. Did find out this morning, we've been going back and forth, that G League rules in the bubble do not allow me to even have a socially distanced in-person interview, because I've got 15-foot XLR cables just waiting to do a on mic interview. But looks like I'll be in the arena for some G League games. In between those Raptors games in Tampa, I'll head into the bubble in Orlando. And really the only benefit there is I'll be able to get some game footage for you guys. So limited access. But what's up, Nizzle? That's Miss Jackson to you, by the way, because you're nasty. So from now on, I just want to hear Miss Jackson. I'll respond to it. But thank you for joining. We got an early game. Everyone who covers the team loves the early games. I will be on pregame at 2:30. I will be on the watch party with Justin. I think Dibes is going to be on there, so we're going to have fun today. The fact that it's an afternoon game is great for us. I am for real nasty. By the way, I love it. Thank you for joining us, Mike. Good to see you. Hey, listen, Mike. Thank you for bringing. If this is the Mike I think it is, for making one of making one of Brian Jacobs' dreams come true and getting him on a podcast with one of his beloved Green Bay Packers legends. I know that was a big deal for him, so thank you for making that happen. So yeah, he'll be Doc will be on any minute. One of the things I want to ask about, I'm trying to find the right way to phrase this. I've been working on sort of how to phrase this question to get an actual answer for like a week. This concept of letting Ben sort of hang back, defend the wings, defend from the baseline, look at what the other team is doing all game, and then deploying him as a defensive weapon late in games to take away the other team's first option. There's a I can ask that question the way I just said it, and I'll get a non-answer from Doc probably, because I don't think they want to quite give that away. So I'm trying to find a way to ask some of Ben's teammates about this defensive tactic, and then ask Doc in a way that will actually get an answer. So big part of what we do is when you're in a press conference, you don't get to have follow-up questions all the time. You don't get to have a back and forth. So you have to really sort of ask the question in a way that's actually going to get them talking. So I'm still working on it. Might be today. I'm going to try, I think, to ask that question today. Afternoon, middle of a road trip. Maybe he's worn down. Maybe he wants to get Ben into the All-Star game. So he's going to maybe speak about these things in a more open way. It's something they clearly do. What I wonder is how much of it is Ben being allowed to sort of call that and improvise that versus really a pre-planned sort of game plan heading into the game where they know that they're going to sort of take things away. Mike Scott's availability. Last I heard he was probable. The 1:30 report just came out, so let me look at that. Doc will be up any minute. Let me just log into Media Central. Okay, we do not have the 1:30 report yet, so I don't have a Doc's up.
All right. You guys hear me? Cool. First question, Coach, is from Leandro in Peru. Leandro, go ahead.
Coach, it's Leonardo Torres from Peru. Coach, in the past you used the Ubuntu technique to manage a locker room. Are you applying it this season with the 76ers?
Sort of, but not yet. Let me put it that way. We've introduced some of the basics, but not a lot yet. Leandro, try to wait to see what team we have and who we are. I do think this is a team that can handle that philosophy, and I think it's a philosophy we will use at some point this year.
Thank you.
Next is Jason Blevins.
Hey, Doc. Ben said the other day he feels like he's the best defender in the NBA. I've seen a lot of games where he sort of takes away the other team's hot hand late in games. How much of that is sort of allowing him to make those decisions? How much of that is pre-planned?
Probably a little bit of both. A lot of it as far as, changing matchups is us. The stop part is obviously Ben. All we can do is tell him to guard him, and then we sit there with our clothes on. But, he is such a unique defender. Most of the great defenders guard their position, and they do a great job there. Ben is chameleon. Ben guards literally 1 through 5, and we're not scared to put him on 1 through 5 on needed possessions. The key for us is trying to keep him out of foul trouble early. In some games, we have no choice. We have to start him on the best guy. Some games we don't. We can afford to wait. So he's an interesting guy. He's a lot like a starting pitcher and a relief pitcher at the same time, where you throw him in to shut the team down.
Yeah, a quick follow-up. I'm trying to think of, historically a player like him. Like Stacey Augmon, I don't even think is fair.
Yeah, because he wasn't as heavy, Dennis Rodman is crazy in a defensive way, not as a player. They're completely different players. But Dennis would often guard 1 through 5. They would just throw him on, whoever had it going. So I guess you can go that far back, dominant. Scottie Pippen, is in that category as well. So there's very few people. I'm happy that people finally starting to notice it. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, thank you.
We've got quite a few people with their hands up, so we'll try to go pretty quickly here. Keith, you're next.
Right. Is there, excuse me, I'm sorry, Doc. Doc, is there a timetable for Shake?
No. My guess is he won't play on this trip, and that's all we know.
In regards to, you had a lot of elite players that you coached, Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers. What is it that makes Chris Paul so good? What separates him from the other players in the league?
his talent, number one, and then his brain. But I think the third thing that gets underlooked is his toughness. I mean, he's just a tough, just a nasty, gritty guy that you want on your team. Like, if Chris was 6'9" or 6'10", they would look at him more like a Lambeer toughness or somebody like that. I think because he's 6'1", it kind of gets overlooked. And that might be the single thing that drives it.
Thank you.
Go to Kevin McCormick and then Kai Carlin. Kevin, go ahead.
Hey, Doc. So recently, Ben's done a very good job of asserting himself early on in games as a scorer. Is that something that you guys have talked about recently, or is it something that's just come along naturally?
Probably more natural, you don't worry about his scoring. It's clearly as much as the world does. We worry about creating scoring, as a team more. And if Ben is part of that, that's great, obviously, because when he scores, it's pretty efficient. He's shooting like 55, you know what I'm saying? So that usually means he's getting to the basket and creating layups. And even if he's not creating the layups, he's creating threes. So that at least means he's going downhill early. That's the only thing we stress is getting in the paint early, creating contact, creating fouls, getting to the foul line, creating threes, creating layups, and so the more that happens, the better. The earlier that happens, the better.
Thank you.
Let's go to Kai and then Gina.
Hey, Coach. So you've had a lot of big men that you've coached so far in your career between Kevin Garnett, Blake Griffin, now you got Joel Embiid. How would you compare Joel to Kevin or Blake in the past?
Well, they're just so different, Kevin and Blake are more fours, I guess Garnett could be a 4 or a 5 or whatever he wanted to be, really, when you think about it. He played 3 at times. Where Joel's a bona fide 5, period, and I played with Patrick Ewing. I didn't coach him, obviously. I did coach him for 1 year, but I think he was 97 years old, but that's, who he reminds me the most of in a lot of ways, just can do everything. And so that's what I would say that he reminds me the most of.
Well, time for 3 more guys. Gina and Paul. Gina, go ahead first.
Hey, Doc. One of the big storylines out here in Phoenix has been the reunion between Chris Paul and Monty Williams from his first year as a head coach in New Orleans. You and Monty obviously go way, way back. I'm just wondering if do you remember any conversations you had with Monty when he was going into being a head coach for the first time, or just kind of observing from afar that first season when he was a head coach in New Orleans, and especially?
Oh, yeah. Monty and I talk. Monty's one of my best friends, and so we talk quite a bit. It's funny, we talk a lot about coaching. We probably talk more about life, if you want to be honest. But the only thing I kept reminding Monty and still do is be Monty. Don't be me, don't be Pop, don't be any of the other guys that you've worked around. Steal from us, because we're going to steal from you too, but be you. And one of the things I always remind all young coaches is that you are the head coach. I think a lot of the young coaches in our league want to prove that they're the head coach, and I always just remind them to go out and look at their office, and there's a sign that says, you're the head coach. You don't need to show them you're a head coach, just be it. And I think Monty has really done that. I tell you, I thought it took me getting fired and looking back at myself a little bit and seeing, when I was in Orlando, first time and really, self-evaluating, because that first job is so much different than your second job, because you get to kind of evaluate and see what you've done well and what you haven't. And I think watching Monty now, Monty was comfortable when he was in New Orleans, but he's phenomenal. He's one of the better coaches in our league. I'm obviously biased, but I really believe that.
All right, 2 more. Ann, and then Paulie will close us out. Ann, go ahead.
Morning, Doc.
Hey, what's up, Ann?
How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
Where are you at? You're at home?
No, well, EJ's doing the game today.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But you were on the West Coast for so long. Can you talk about the elevation of Devin Booker's game? And then second, on a follow-up to that, does Monty have any golf game?
Monty hits the ball a long way in golf. Just it takes a long time to find the ball after he hits it. Let me put it that way with Monty in golf. Devin is just every year, and you've watched it probably far more closer than I have, but because we've talked about it, I'm personally just a big fan of how he plays. He's not your typical scorer because he has such a toughness about him, and I could not pick a better player for him to play with than Chris, because Chris has that same DNA, that toughness factor. But Devin scores in every single way, from the post, with his jump shot, off the dribble, off pick and rolls. And what he's doing better now is handling traps and passing better. So he just keeps getting better. He's just a terrific player.
Last one to Paul Hudry.
Hey, Doc. In the game against Portland, without Shake, you talked a lot about the second unit kind of not being able to get the offense going and how that kind of bled into Portland's offense. What does Tyrese have to do differently? Is it just a matter of him making sure that the guys are kind of running the show, or what kind of has been your message to him in this
Tyrese problem? It's because that second unit has had that problem on and off all year, so I don't pin that on Tyrese at all. Our second unit had 1 assist. That's the bottom line, and the ball has to move. The ball didn't move, and that's been one of the problems we've had with that unit throughout. They're all scorers in that unit. Tyrese is really a scorer. Tobias, who we use as a scorer, Shake's a scorer, Furkan's a scorer. We need somebody to pass to each other, and so when they play well, they have artificial ball movement that leads to good ball movement, and so we have to get them back to doing that more.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, there we go. Interesting. Yeah. So listen, guys, I got one question I want to here's one. MPC Smith, Paul Reed. I think he will rejoin the team. He's got plenty of days left on his two-way. He's down in the bubble right now, but that's a shortened season. I think they're playing like 12 games plus single elimination. I'll be down there for 10 days starting next Sunday. Hoping to catch up with those guys quite a bit while I'm there. I'll be in the bubble. I'll be in Tampa with the Raptor series. I definitely am going to try to get a one-on-one interview with Paul. He's got plenty of days. Once the G League season wraps, he'll be able to play some games late in the season, I think, for the Sixers. So he will rejoin the team. His development, what position he plays, what role he plays, I think is still up in the air at the NBA level. But him getting minutes down there right now is going to enable him to blossom. So thanks for everyone joining with us. We'll be back in 45 minutes with pregame. We'll talk Paul Reed. We'll talk Blue Coats. We'll talk Sixers. We'll talk anything you guys want to talk about. We'll be here for pregame, and we'll do the watch party. I'll be here. I think Justin's with us. I think Dibes with us. So we got this. So good to see everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll see you soon.